Speaking in Business with Dr. Samantha Deloche. I know it has been a while since I've had an actual podcast, but I'm super excited to be starting it off in 2026. So we're starting it in March, Women's History Month. So I feel like this is a good, way to start, public speaking in business for people who have been watching the episodes or who may not even be familiar. Go to my YouTube channel, Mild Pharmacist, and you will see, I think, about 30 episodes of different individuals that I've interviewed because the main thing I want everyone to know is public speaking is so important, so vital. And if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, it's very vital for your business. You cannot be silent or be one of those best kept secrets and expect to flourish and be outstanding in your business. So I want to start out by saying apologies for the delay. We were supposed to start at 1 o'clock, but technology was technologying. And you know what? It's okay. We are here now. I have the brilliant Sierra Morgan. She's a queen to you guys. And so she's going to tell you about herself, her business. But I want to personally and say it on air. Thank you so much, Sierra, for your patience while we worked out the kinks. Anybody who does podcasts know that you can run into a couple of hiccups. If something can go wrong, it usually does, but you have to still keep pressing, still keep going. So I'm so glad you're here, Sierra. Nice to meet you.
Nice
Welcome.
to meet you as well. Thank you so much for having me. And teamwork makes the dream work. So we
Yes,
got
it
it
does.
done and
Yes,
got
we
it worked
did.
out. And yes, I am Miss Maryland Corporate America 2025. So I'm excited to be here. I'm a business owner, Rose HR, where we hire virtual assistants. I have my own family caregiving coaching business called Caregiving Coaching Academy. Well, excuse me, Caregiving Compass Academy. Sorry.
Mhm.
And I'm also an HR director. So those are
Ooh,
just some of the hats. And then, of course, I am a podcast host as well. So that's why we were able to figure this out together. The
yes.
name of my podcast is called The Bottom Line Is.
Oh, I like that. Yes.
Yes.
Now, when you say HR, I know someone in particular who wants to get into HR and who wants to further their pursuits. So, just starting off, if you knew someone who wanted to get into HR, what advice would you give them?
Well, first,
And
oh,
go ahead.
no, I was going to say first and foremost, HR is not what it used to be when I first got into it. So I think after COVID, I think every HR professional can agree that it's changed the dynamic.
Okay.
And what keeps me grounded in it is that one employee every now and then coming to you and saying how much of an impact you've made on their lives. And because it's not just about, like most people think, oh, it's just about implementing policies, hiring and terming. It's a lot more than that.
Mm,
So I would say to that person that if that is something that you want to get into, make sure you're in the right mind space, because it is like being a therapist
yeah.
at work.
Okay.
And you're dealing with a lot of different personalities, and just make sure that you keeping yourself grounded and humble in it, and just keep trying to learn, because in this, the way the world is now, there's so many things changing by the
Mhm.
minute that you
Yes.
really have to associate yourself with other like-minded people so that you can keep up to date with what's going on.
Absolutely. And so, why do you believe public speaking is a crucial skill for business professionals today, and then especially in the HR field?
Yeah, well, with the HR field, just starting off, just because part of the HR dynamic is training and
Mhm.
development. So you're doing a lot of speaking in front of employees, orientation. So you have to be comfortable. And what I find is when people are doing public speaking, I think they are more comfortable if, as long as they're talking about a topic that they know. If you're
Mhm.
talking about something that somebody just put you on the spot for, or that you're not well versed, you're not going to give it your best, because when you're doing public speaking, you're also speaking from experience. You're also able to share, you know, real life examples that people can resonate with others and things of that nature. So I think that's very important. And that's one of the ways that I got my head start. And again, just kind of reevaluating, or evaluating rather, your audience, to make sure
Mm.
that you're tweaking what you're saying to your audience. You can't just come into a place and give the same cookie cutter speech. I know there's a lot of people that think so, but I personally don't think that you can. I think that you have to be able to understand your audience, your target
Mhm.
audience, and then, adjust accordingly.
Well, that's really good that you said knowing your audience because I feel like that is one of vital things you should do as a speaker and in HR. I'm glad you brought up that it's not just hiring, firing. It's about training. It's
Yeah.
about teaching people. And then really, depending on the size of the organization, you could have as many as 20 up to 500, people that you're having to give information to, and every person is not the same. So how somebody can receive it and be able to implement it, you may have to break it down or be, repetitive with some to get it. You know what I mean? So you have to be able to adapt to the audience, to the client, to the,
Mhm.
employee, so that's
Everybody has a different learning style. So, like you said, some people can understand how you're communicating just in a public setting, or some people you need that follow up email to kind of
right.
follow up on what you were talking about and having those takeaways. And that's why I named my podcast actually the way that I did. The bottom line is because that's something that my mother, every time I would ask her something, and she would give me advice, she would always end it with, well, the bottom line is you need to do X, Y, and Z. And so I always end that because my podcast episodes are about 30 minutes long. And
Mhm.
yes, holding somebody's attention span that long sometimes can be a little challenging. And people may, forget, the whole story or remember bits and pieces here, but they always remember what you leave them with in the end. So I always try to sum up every episode with the bottom line is, you know,
Right. And that's so good because I like to tell people when speaking, you need to open strong and you need to finish strong because you
yes.
want to grab their attention in the beginning, but then you want to tie a bow on it and make sure whatever you're leaving them with, they can have some action steps. What should I do, say, think, or believe after you speak, after you do that workshop, whatever the case is. So I love that the bottom line is because you want to just hit them with the bottom, get them that meat and potatoes, let them know this is what is expected of you and how to
Exactly.
get there. Okay, so my next question is, can you share a personal experience where effective public speaking significantly impacted your career or business or even your title?
Yeah, I will. That's exactly what I wanted to share was during the pageant this time, around this time last year, for Miss Maryland Corporate America. So this was the first time that Miss Corporate America actually held their competition on the state level. And a
Mm,
part of that competition was a 2-minute pitch. And a lot of people are thinking 2 minutes, oh, that's a piece of cake, right? But it's actually more in depth because you're actually selling what your platform is and telling the judges, well, if I am granted with this title, what am I going to do with this title? How am I going to affect other people? How am I going to make an impact? And so I took that, very seriously. And it was also 40% of the scoring
wow.
as well. And so, one of the things, like you mentioned, I like to grab people's attention. So, my platform was caregiver advocacy because I've been a caregiver for over 16 years. And
Wow.
so, when I came out, I actually came out in my grandmother's house coat and I came out with her walker just to
Mm,
command the attention of the audience, uh, not just the judges that I was speaking to, although I was directly making eye contact with them. But once I got to the top of the stage, I looked around, kind of like sizing up my audience to get their attention, let it sink in, like so they can start asking, well, what is she doing? Why is she doing that? Why does she
right.
look like that?
Mm,
And then I started with my impact statements. And I made sure that I, kept in eye contact with everyone. I made sure that a part of my pitch could resonate with anyone
mhm,
because you might not be a caregiver right now, but I'm sure down the line you may have someone that you may have to take care of. So you should
right.
probably listen to what I'm saying and why I'm saying it. And it's something that now caregiving itself is becoming more of a popular topic, especially
Mhm,
within the government. And so that's what I did, and I made sure that I left on a high note
mhm,
that had people still thinking like. Wow, like I can't believe she hit us up with that. And I made sure that I practiced that for
yes.
over 2 weeks straight. Probably once I started the competition, I started working on my pitch and I made my family and friends listen to me. And I did it exactly as if I was coming out onto the stage, and I
Mhm,
practiced even before the competition began. So practice makes perfect, but at the same time, you have to allow for, differences in how to sweat. So you can't memorize every moment.
right, right, and you covered a lot of good things that I cover with my coaches or my students and people who work with me, that you have to practice. You have to practice how you play. Don't say it in your head, say it out loud. And again, you
Mhm.
got your family and friends involved. Again, another thing that I tell people to do, get you an audience that you can trust that will give you honest feedback and even record yourself if you can't have an audience. But the key thing is practice because nerves are going to come. You're going to get nervous. But if you've practiced, then you're confident and you know your message and you don't have to worry about the nerves taking over. A lot of times when we don't do as well is because we did not prepare, we did not practice. And
Mhm.
so you covered a lot of excellent points that obviously worked because you secured the title.
Yes.
And I love how you came out strong and you did something that was bold, that was different because again, you want to catch the attention in the beginning, make people sit up and say, "Hey, what is she about to say? Or what is he about to say?" So you literally in that moment just covered 70% of what is the true core of public speaking and how to convey a message that is memorable. Because I'm sure what you did was very memorable that night.
Yes, because most people, I feel like they always talk about, which is great, helping kids and doing, other things in the community, but nobody actually talks about caregiving. And so I
Right.
knew that as that person that was the only one there, going through that I had to make a bold statement, and really catch the attention of the audience as well.
Yeah. And I'm trying to move from this point, but it's so much nuggets there.
Yes.
You said it was very important to you, something you were experiencing. And I like to tell individual I work with, what is your motivation? That's what starts out for the Model Speakers Academy. The M stands for motivation, the O is organized, D is deliver, E is engage, L is lead. But when you're speaking, when you're about to get in front of an audience, you must know your why. Why are you getting up here to talk? What is the messaging? Why are you speaking on this? And if you're being authentic, then it's going to resonate more because it's something you're passionate about, something you care about. And literally people are going to feel that energy because it's not like, oh, okay, I'm being forced to do this or I'm being, fake or pretending I'm performing. No, this is something I really care about and I have the experience and people relate to those type of messages a whole lot better.
Totally agree.
Yes. So what are some common public speaking challenges that business professionals face and how can they overcome them?
Well, I think, a challenge is just like I said earlier, not understanding the audience,
Mhm.
because you want to put yourself into that cookie cutter mold. And again, you can have a base, a model, a base of what your discussions are, just like when I am teaching policies. Yes, the policies are a fact. It is what it is, right? But
Mhm.
again, when I'm actually speaking to my employees, I'm tailoring it. And sometimes, I had to do things that in the middle of me talking to catch their attention, getting them engaged. Like, hey, well, what do you think it means? Why do you think we have an attendance policy? Or why do you think we have to go over workplace violence or whatever the case and topic
Yes.
is, or what have you, to get them engaged and just make sure that they're listening. And sometimes I have to throw in real world examples that people can resonate with. And that's one of the things too, that with the podcast, I get so many comments on the podcast episodes of people saying, wow, like I didn't realize I was going through something like that till I heard
Mhm.
somebody else talk about it. Or maybe I was afraid to talk about it
Mhm.
because I thought I was the only one and I thought I was going to look weird by sharing what I was really feeling inside or whatever the case is. But I think that, and then another challenge is I think is that people make is not thinking that what you are saying is of value. I
Mm.
mean, you were chosen to do that speaking engagement. People, whether you realize it or not in that moment may not be engaged, but somebody else is listening out there and it's touching someone, people that you wouldn't even realize that it's touching,
Right.
but does resonate with them. But you have to give yourself a chance because if you don't believe in what you're saying, like you said, nobody else is going to.
Right.
So you're just wasting your breath. And I tell people all the time, I don't have breath to waste. So I I
Yes.
need to make sure whatever I say is worth it, right?
Absolutely. And like you said, a lot of people have, I think they call it imposter syndrome, where they
Yeah.
feel like my voice does not matter, or, I'm not qualified to speak on this topic. Who's going to, take me serious? But again, it starts with us. It starts with the person giving the message. And that's why it's important to make sure your why is strong enough, make sure you have your reasoning of giving that message so that you can come from a strong, place or positioning and not feeling like, oh, nobody's going to take me serious. Nobody cares, because, somebody out there, you don't know who, even if it's only one person that you touching your message, then you did your job. And even if everyone doesn't agree with you, that's okay. At least they saw your point of view.
No, and I'm glad you mentioned imposter syndrome. And I actually did an episode on that. But
Oh.
that is a big thing, is fear. Uh,
Mhm.
we are definitely our worst enemies. We create self-doubt. And
Mhm.
I know for me too, I'm also a person sometimes that seeks validation. And
Ooh.
sometimes, I think that people need that. Like somebody need that's why you need a good support system so that when you're
Yes.
done,
Yes.
talking, at least the first couple times maybe that you're giving that type of speech out, for somebody to say like, hey, this is actual feedback, just like how I prepared for the pageant, or
Mhm.
this is, you did great, you did good. I saw people's body language, they were engaged with you, you were owning the stage. That
Yes.
makes you feel good, and then that pumps you up, gets that adrenaline going for the next time. And
That's
so
right.
yeah, but I mean, even performers, singers, they all get nervous sometimes before they go out on the stage, knowing
Right.
that they know the songs like the back of their hand. They wrote them
Right.
or whatever, they feel
Mhm.
them. But it's normal to have those feelings though
It
too.
is normal, yeah, because and it's funny you said, owning the stage. Well, I have another podcast called Own Your Voice, and
Mhm.
I'm big on that. I even launched a calendar this year, the Own Your Voice calendar for 2026, and each month it gives you a prompt to help you dig deeper into your speaking, your why, and to, challenge you to think about things differently. But yes, when you get out there, you have to realize, hey, I'm up here for a reason. I'm glad you said that. They entrusted me with this, so I must take it seriously and do what I need to do to convey the right message. And nervous energy happens with everybody. I get nervous before a podcast. I get nervous before I speak. I work with my church and I'm on the media team. So every morning that I'm on there giving the news and getting people ready for the church service, I get a little, nervous. But that's a good thing. That nervous energy, let it be adrenaline to give you excitement to do the message, not let it be, fear that stops you. And I would be kind of concerned if someone's like, hey, I don't care, and they just go out there nonchalantly,
Right.
because you should care about your message. You should be a little, nervous or excited, because you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for the audience. So I want to make sure that I'm not thinking about me, but how would they receive it? What are
Right.
they going to walk away with? So, I want to do a good job for them, not for myself. So when you find yourself getting really worried or nervous, or you're thinking like, oh, this is not going to work right. Me. And if everything you're saying is going back to yourself, hey, you're not talking for yourself. You're talking for that audience. You're talking for the people who are going to get that message. So remember, it's not about you, but it's about them.
Exactly. Love it.
Thank you. And what is one essential tip you would give to someone looking to improve their public speaking skills? And I'm gonna take it a little further for the workplace. They want to get a
Mhm.
promotion. They want that corner office. They want that raise, that high performance view. They want their annual review to, excel or improve upon what it did last year. So
Mhm.
what essential tip you would give to someone, looking to improve maybe their public speakers to help with those areas?
I would say, far as the workplace is concerned, taking initiative, as well as being able to handle constructive criticism. I tell people that all the time, even my team,
Mhm.
that just because I'm the director doesn't mean that, you know, um, I'm going to retaliate against you because you want to give me criticism. You may see things different from, we all look through different lenses every day.
Right.
We have diverse experiences. And so I think it's very important to take that feedback in. And I was actually just telling them this a couple of weeks ago, because the question I gave them during our team meeting is, how do you deal with accountability? And
Mm.
for me, I said, again, taking that criticism, but then asking for follow-up feedback. So after you've taken it, let a little time pass and then
Mhm.
follow up with that person. Like, hey, how do you said this to me before. How do you think I'm responding? How do you think I'm performing as a result of these things? Like, go out and get that feedback, because
Right.
otherwise you'll never know. So you could be thinking that you're the greatest thing in the world, but in actuality, you're not. And no one wants to work with you, no one wants to be around you because they can't tolerate you, or you're not being open. So having that open mind,
Mhm.
to really take that feedback in, definitely will help you grow. And don't just wait for the performance review. Just do your one-on-ones with your manager, ask your team, your coworkers, like, hey, how do you think I'm doing, or what do you think, how do you think that project went that we worked on? Let's have a debriefing on it.
Mhm.
That's the
Mhm.
only way you can, again, reset and refine. So,
I love that. Yes. And accountability is huge nowadays.
yes.
Many people do not like to have to be accountable. Um, it's okay to point the finger, but we got to remember we point one finger for a pointing back at us. And we have to ask for feedback. And, I like to say feedback, constructive feedback, all of it is to truly help you improve. Nobody is perfect. Nobody has it all together. We all have blind spots. We all have areas that we don't know or see in ourselves. And I recently had a pizza and public speaking event this past weekend. And I asked one of my friends, and I said, give me, your feedback. And I knew she was
Mhm.
going to give it to me straight. And she's like,
Right.
I'll send you a text. And so she texted me like 3 or 4 paragraphs, honey. And I was like, woo. But I
Yeah.
needed that. Some of it I knew,
Hmm.
but some of it, she gave me different point of views that I had not looked at, because if I'm gonna be doing events, there's certain things I should do, and I want my events each time I do it to get better and better. And so you can't be afraid to get feedback or get defensive or get an attitude or get upset. No, you're
Because then
trying.
nobody will ever give you that feedback again
Right.
because they're afraid of how you're going to respond because clearly you don't want to take it. So you don't want to improve.
Yeah, you want your ego stroked. You want a pat on your
Exactly.
back. So, if you really want to go to that next level, sometimes you're going to hear things that are going to be hard to hear. And, it's okay, especially if that person is coming from an objective place, because I will say be careful who you get your feedback from, you
That's true.
know, because it's no need for me to get constructive criticism from somebody who's never constructed anything or who's not in that positioning to really
Sure.
give that good feedback. But if it's somebody you trust, somebody who doesn't have, any motive to, say something to hurt you, then
Mhm.
you need to, take it and then ask multiple people. If the
Yeah,
same thing keeps coming up, or if the same thing keeps showing up on your evaluation year after year, hmm, is it a coincidence? Is it
exactly.
somebody hating on you? No, not everybody's hating on you. Sometimes it really is the truth, and we have to be open to that.
Yeah, and I always say I have my core group that are strong professionals just like myself, and both personally and professionally, they know my strengths and they know my weaknesses, and they know that I will take that feedback, and whether I want it or not, they will still give it, and I can
Right,
appreciate that because that is what has helped me to be where I am today. So
right.
for that, I definitely thank them. I tell them that all the time. And just to in the world of public speaking, I still do this, but I don't know if a lot of people do it. But I will give out surveys. I do like if
Hmm.
depending on what I'm speaking on, I like to put up a QR code
Mhm.
at the end or a survey like, hey, what point stuck with you? Do you have any ideas for improvement? And it's all anonymous, of course. People can give that feedback.
Right,
Of
right.
course, not everybody fills out the survey because it's optional.
Mhm, mhm.
However, that is something that people can do. I do it a lot too when I do orientations or if
Yes.
I do trainings at regular trainings at work. I would do that just so we can see and rate like, well, maybe this topic is no longer efficient for
Right.
or maybe it's outdated, the material. So we can go back to the drawing board and look at that every quarter or every year and redo again refine because times are changing, so we have to make sure that we adapt what we're saying and how we're saying it and how we're teaching it to our audience and to really the world so people can take that information in and be able to use it.
Absolutely. Well, I loved our conversation. You definitely gave some great pointers. I want you to close it out by telling us how we can follow you, your social media. If somebody is interested in, I don't know, maybe getting a virtual position with you, or, just how could they find or follow you to get tips on employment as well as what you're doing next? Just how to stay involved, engaged with what you have going on.
Okay, yeah, so I always say I'm a woman of many hats, so
Hey, let's see them all.
yeah, so again, if you are in Baltimore, so I am here in Baltimore, Maryland. We would love to see you at the 2026 Miss Corporate America pageant. That is on March 14th at 7 p.m. If you follow me, I can, certainly share with you the link to purchase tickets, or you can buy tickets at the door. Completely up to you. We have VIP and general admission, so that's going to be at the Bowie Performing Arts Center on March 14th. My social media, my personal social media is at CECTHEDIVA. So CC the Diva. You can follow me there. I have a link tree with everything that I have going on. My business, Rose HR, we do HR consulting as well. So if anybody needs any type of assistance in fractional or different parts of HR, I'm your girl. Or if you have a small to medium sized business and you find that you're doing everything on your own and starting to get burnt out or overwhelmed, I also help my clients find virtual assistants from other countries that can help them basically succeed and do those day-to-day tasks that are slowing us down from being able to help our business grow. Caregiver Compass Academy, that is my family caregiving coaching business, because for me, I became a caregiver overnight. My grandmother fell and I found
Mhm.
myself in that position, and there was nobody else essentially, and there had been no one else around me that I could ask about, well, how do I become a caregiver? What
Mhm.
actually is involved in being a caregiver? And so, I had to do that while working full time. And
Mhm.
so that business is there to provide tools that people can use to help get things set up, or even before you become a caregiver, what can you set up so that way you don't find yourself in that predicament just like at the drop of a hat. So we do talk about that, provide a lot of advice as well, and there is personal coaching there. And then I am getting ready, starting this Friday, to start season 3 of my podcast. The bottom line is, thank you. And so this Friday, I'm actually going to have the queens on that are going to be competing in this year's pageant. And because it's International Women's Month, as you started out with. So I
Yes.
want to give them that platform where they can be able to, talk about what they do. It's a phenomenal group this year. We had a phenomenal group last year as well. So I definitely encourage, everyone to, look online, check them out. They are great. And I do have some books coming out too. So so that's why I said follow me on social media, keep an
Yes.
eye on that link tree, because your girl is always doing something. But I have to keep moving and shaking because I got a grandmother to feed. So I got to do what I
Oh,
got to
that's
do.
right. I know that. Yeah, I love a woman with a plan who knows what
Yes.
she needs to do and is not afraid to do it.
Yes. Thank you.
Good. So
Thank you
tell us
so
about
much.
the book if you'd like to, plug that
Yeah.
real quick.
Yep. So it is a Color Me Queen book, a coloring book, but it's an affirmations coloring book. And so the idea is do it at your own pace.
Mhm.
Because what I found is when I'm in meetings and different things, I always like to doodle. I like to color. I
Mhm.
mean, my note pages look stuff all over the place, but it relaxes me while I am
Mhm.
conducting meetings or doing things. And I wanted, other people to do that. And really, one of the things too that gave me the idea is I saw my aunt, and she's 77,
Wow.
coloring, and I don't think she realized the effects of that. That it's probably was really helping her to relax. I don't know what made her pick up the coloring book that we had. So I was
Mhm.
like, this is a good idea to share with other people. And after you color, it has affirmations, and then there's a page called Nourish Your Spirit, and it asks you, kind
Mm.
of like journaling, some different questions to just kind of make you think or reflect on your day, as or how you felt as you were coloring. So, and then I'm also doing a book series, starting out with the children's book
Wow.
called My Nana, My World.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
beautiful, and it's funny that you brought up books, 'cause Imma, bring up mine too. I have a coloring book that I created last year
Ooh,
called Speak in Color, and it deals with
right.
motivational speaking, public speaking, giving you prompts, places to doodle, and to help you follow my framework. Because I mentioned earlier my model framework. So, that's exciting and that's interesting that, hey, adult coloring is a thing. People feel like,
It
"Oh,
is.
that's for a child," but no, that is a way, like you said, to relax, to recharge, and to kinda give your mind and body a chance to kinda relax, but still do something that is, enjoyable. And we all remember coloring as kids, so sometimes we have to take it back to those things so that we can, keep our youth, keep that extra edge, and not have to have everything so serious, and get off the computers and get off our cell
I was just
phone.
about to say, we're always on social media to relax, which I'm guilty of because
Yes.
I'm running so much that it's not until I lay down in the bed
Mhm.
that my body and mind start to just relax. Now, do I still come up with ideas and things like that? Yes, I get my best ideas at nighttime.
Right. Right.
But that's the time that I, would also take the time to do the coloring book, or like I said, when I'm in a meeting, especially when like things are getting a little heated or something in the meeting, I'm just I'm just coloring. Me and my marker and my pen.
They thinking she in there taking notes. She's like, "Baby, I ain't even thinking about y'all. Let me get this little color
Yep.
done." to kind of keep it all focused. And then also, I need to add that I am launching an anthology, an Own Your Voice anthology.
Come on.
I'm actually accepting people this month, the whole month of March. I'm looking for at least 10 to 20 women who are ready to tell their story. What did you experience that, really pivoted and caused you to change your thought that you, of course, succeeded? Take us through that journey. So I'm asking for contributors, from 1,000 to 1,500 words is all you have to write. And they're, different, payment pricing. But I think this is a really exciting opportunity for individuals who may be wanting to become an author and don't know where to begin, or even if you are an established author and you want to get into another network. And at the compilation of it, it'll be probably around June where the book will actually be released. There's going to be an actual in-person book signing, and I will sit down and talk with each author so they can share
Wow.
their inspiration for why they wrote the chapter, and even read a actual segment from their section to individuals while they're there at the book signing and the book release party. So I'm really, really excited about that.
That's
So
awesome.
again, thank you. Yeah, all my information is on speakwithdrsam.com, that you'll find out about my events. I have one this month, March 30th, charcuterie and conversations, because I'm all about talking. So if you're in the Charlotte area, please check it out. It's Monday, March 30th, 6:30 to 8:30. Tickets are only $25. You're going to get some good charcuterie, and you're going to get some good conversation and some speaking tips. So I have a lot going on over here as well. And of course,
So food
just
for the mind and the soul.
hello. That's right.
Okay.
We trying
I
to
love
cover
it.
all aspects. Yes, yes. You come from work, you're tired. Don't worry. You're gonna have some nourishment. And like you said, for the mind and body. So yeah, so that's what's going on with the Model Speakers Academy. Of course, I'm always looking for individuals who may need some coaching, one-on-one or group coaching, because your voice is your asset. We have
Mhm.
to realize that's your instrument, that's your tool, and you can't be sitting on your voice. That promotion, that breakthrough, that business, whatever it is, being shy, being soft spoken is not helping you get to that next level. So even just being more comfortable, being able to go to networking events and being able to
Mhm.
go up and introduce yourself to someone, or helping you get that promotion, being able to talk to your boss or talk to someone who gives you your evaluation, or for your business, if you want to go to the next level, customers have to know what you offer. And as well as
Mhm.
for the community, your church, even simply, saying the prayer at a family gathering,
Yeah, you
you
got to get your start somewhere.
got
And
to.
one of my friends, we were just talking about this the other day. Nobody else is going to advocate for you the way that you would advocate for yourself.
Absolutely. You have
So
to be your number one fan.
exactly. And I just realized too, I forgot to plug my website. So it's
Yes.
www.rosehr.org. And then for the Caregiving Compass Academy, it's www.caregivercompassacademy.com. And again,
Yes.
like I said, IGCECTHEDIVA.
Yes, CC the Diva. You definitely want to follow her page, check out these different academies she has, look out for her coloring book and everything she has coming up, because I believe we are stronger together. I don't
Yeah.
believe in competition. I believe in collaboration. And I would love to work with CC in the future. Maybe if you're in the Charlotte area, or if you want
Yes.
to add something to my anthology, bring it on. I am here to
Okay.
collaborate, go to the next level. I think we're better together. So I hope everyone, do you have any, lasting things you would like to say?
No, I think you hit on all the points, and I'm excited to continue this journey and to continue to, work with you. And that's what people don't realize too, is it's not about being in competition with everybody, because like you said, we're stronger together. Everybody has different talents that they
Right.
can bring to the table, and strengths. And even if you have weaknesses, somebody else may have that.
Absolutely.
So that way we can, continue on and just be bigger and better.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Sierra. I'm so happy you were here today. And everyone, follow her, follow what she has going on, and stay tuned, because some more public speaking and business is coming very soon. All right, everybody. Talk to you later.